Hello and welcome to 2022 Conversations with Linda. I'm Linda. This is going to be an exciting year. New page, next chapter. We're on this journey together. So come on in, have a conversation with me. You know I love a good conversation. So this season on Conversations with Linda, we're going to do good medicine, but we're going to do it a little differently. Y'all know I believe that laughter is good for the soul, but I want you to share with our chit-chatters as well. So if you find a funny meme, a TikTok, a video, whatever you find that you think is funny that you want to share, send it in to me at lindawillisempowers.org and I'll share it on the show. And I'll also give you credit. All right, come on and let's have a conversation. Elaine Michelle is a social media and branding coach with a YouTube community of over 44,000 followers known as Besties. Elaine provides her followers with real-life information. From planning to budgeting tips, she is here to keep it real and share her journey to financial freedom and a peaceful life. Conversations with Linda. Welcome to Elaine Michelle to our show.
Hi.
Welcome, girl. I am so excited about having you begin the year with me.
I'm excited to be here.
Listen, our focus this year is new page, next chapter. And so I wanted to start the year off with bringing people on that I thought could help us write that new page in our lives. And for some, it's going to be starting a next chapter.
Oh, yeah.
And I think starting with our money and starting with getting our lives organized, those are just the greatest places to begin.
Absolutely.
So Elaine Michelle, would you just tell us a little bit about you? I mean, 44,000 followers. Somebody already knows you. Can I say that? Somebody already knows you. But tell our audience about you.
Okay, so I got started really because I wanted to teach people how to do makeup, right?
Okay.
And then I got pregnant with my son, and that took a back seat.
Okay.
And I didn't have any money. So I could no longer buy everything that I wanted to. So I took a break, and then I came back into it. Makeup was great, and I still noticed that, like, I was struggling. So I was buying all these things, but nothing was coming from it. And I just needed to do something different.
Okay.
And so I got to a point, I literally remember I was watching someone's YouTube channel. I just cried home to my dad. I said, Daddy, I'm about to file for bankruptcy.
Wow.
And he was like, okay, do it. And I'll bring that back up later on, but I want you to kind of get an idea of where I came from, because that was acceptable. Like, okay, do what you need to do and get it done with. Student loans were coming back, and I'm like, I can't do this. So I had a YouTube channel. I decided to switch that to doing more planning, and found the budgeting channels, and I was like, I could do this. And so that opened the door. So when I hadn't even reached maybe 1,000 subscribers. I did that in over maybe 2 years. I had gained my following.
Wow. Only 2 years?
Yeah. So I had been doing it for a while now. Let me just be clear.
Okay.
And I say that because it's more to it. But overall, when I actually put my focus in on the things that were helping me to build my life, and I brought along the besties too.
Okay.
That's when I saw the growth.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So this new Elaine Michelle was born out of a crisis.
Basically. Yeah.
I love it because I believe that's when we're our most creative, our most innovative. People always look for things to be perfect in their lives to begin something new.
Absolutely.
But it's oftentimes born out of crisis. Some of our greatest giftings come forth, some of the things that are really our purpose.
Yeah. And see, as a single mom, it was really hard for me, and I didn't tell anybody.
Okay.
So I never talked about it. So I would walk around. I mean, I still was cute. Like, you never knew.
Nope.
I never let anybody know that I didn't have any money.
Absolutely.
But I was literally like going over to my brother's house like, hey, y'all got some food over there.
Wow.
Because I need to eat something.
Yeah.
And my baby eating because I didn't spend all money on this good goat milk that he had to have. Okay, so I'm spending money like that, but I was literally broke, and I was broken inside because I couldn't understand.
Broken.
Yeah.
Okay, we got to take that in because we don't talk about those two together, that we're broke and broken.
Oh, yeah.
What a combination.
So a lot of that came from, again, I'm a single mom. I had no, if we're just being, can I be just as clear as possible?
Sure.
I had no earthly, like anything about me that wanted to be a mom.
Wow.
And it was not in my plans, but of course it was in God's plans. Some other things happened. Me and my child's father didn't work out for some other things that caused a lot of mental stress.
This sounds like a whole nother episode.
Yeah, I mean, girl, I can come back for that. We'll come back for that one. That's a good one. To write that one down. But after that, I really was broken. And I couldn't really pick myself up because I didn't know how to. And then everybody around me, how do I explain? I'm making over, at the time, I think I was making over $45,000 a year. Now, to everyone else, that's like, girl, you're making good money. You're doing it. You know, I'm into my career. And every week I'm like, okay, I need to pull from here. I'm not going to pay him. Okay, if I pay him, I got to pay her. Okay, got to move some things around. And it was really, really rough. And talking to family members who have these expectations, I came from a middle class household, 2-parent household. I was the first one to go to college and like actually finish and complete my degree. And then I moved away from home because I'm originally from Indiana. So there was like, to me, all these expectations of who I was supposed to be. That I hadn't realized yet. So I was just kind of what they say, living off your grandmama's prayer. Yeah. I think that's what I was doing at that time. And so that kind of brought me into that place where I realized I was literally broken and I hadn't dealt with me.
Wow. But what I love about that is even though you're willing and able to admit that you were broke and broken did not crush you and did not kill you.
Nope.
That in the ashes of all of that, you begin to come up, rise up and start budgeting.
Yeah.
And tell me about that.
So I think I had to get to that place where I needed to acknowledge my brokenness, right? Like, so that's number one, acknowledge where you are in your life. And then from there, then you assess. So what I did was I sat down and I was like, girl, I'm like literally in the mirror, Issa Rae style, like, girl, we making too much money out here for us to be this broke. We can't travel. We can't do anything. You only got one kid. You watching all your friends on Facebook with all these multiple kids and they traveling, living their best life. What's going on?
So wait a minute. I got to slow this down because you're saying some really good stuff because you had to have a conversation with yourself. Yeah,
absolutely. It had to come from me first because listening to everybody else, having conversations with my brother who's a business owner and things like that, like that was all well and fine. But until I actually admitted to myself that I am down and out. Yeah. And there's nothing wrong with that because that helps you to be able to connect with God.
Absolutely.
And that's what it did for me because literally when I had that conversation with myself, the next day, God showed me a video of some budgeting.
Wow.
Now let me say this. I had been fake budgeting. That's what I tell people. I was fake budgeting.
Okay. Tell us what fake budgeting is.
I had a real cute notebook.
Okay. It starts with notebook, cute notebook.
Cute notebook, a good pen. And then I would just write down all my bills. That was it.
Okay.
That's it.
And called it a budget.
And I called it a budget.
Okay.
I didn't execute. I didn't plan for the month. I just wrote down, oh, this is cute. Oh, highlighters. Love a good highlighter. So I had highlighted everything. And I went back a couple years ago and looked at it and I was like, no wonder you ain't had no money. It wasn't following anything. So yeah.
Okay. So I just gotta ask I call them our chit chatters. Okay. I gotta ask you chit chatters. Do you have a fake budget? You know, do you have all the little highlighted, the list that not a budget, just a list, really?
It's
That's
a
what
list.
it is.
Yeah, it's a to-pay list. Like maybe I'll pay them list.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so you had to get real.
I had to get real.
Okay.
I had to get real, honest, and raw with myself. And that was something I hadn't done before. I am a helper by nature. So I'm always looking to, help other people. So when it came time for helping myself, that was a little bit difficult. So that's why I had to talk to myself. And so from there, after I watched those videos, I said I can do it. I bought what we call a happy planner. They had a budget planner at the time. And so I bought that. I was like, I kind of like it, but it got me in the process of doing it. So every month I was writing down my budget, and by budgeting, there's steps to this, right? So you're first going to write down your fixed expenses, then you have your variables, and then from there, anything else that needs to get paid, right? So fixed expenses, and then variables, and your variables. And so what we always talk about is our 4 walls, right? Those are your most important things to make sure you take care of. I had that down pat, right? I never went without paying my rent, things like that. Like that's 4 walls. That was good. Okay, because you want me to explain the 4 walls. Giving this information. 4 walls. Come on. What so the 4 walls are going to be everything that you need to survive, right? So we talk about what's within your 4 walls. You got your home. Most of us need a car to get around wherever we go. Your electricity and food. Those are things that we need to make sure we cover all the time. So you don't need hair, nails, mani-pedis. Those are not walls. No, those aren't in with. That's like, y'all hear that? Yeah, that's like a shed outside. I got you. All right. So 4 walls. Come on. So you deal with your 4 walls. You make sure that you have allocated your money. Now, what you want to do is take a really good look at your paychecks. A lot of times what people don't do is actually look at their individualized paychecks. So they will look at the monthly, like, oh, I bring in this much at this time. That's where I was messing up at. Because it looked like I was bringing home $3,000, but that $3,000 didn't come to be paid at one time. It was split up between paychecks. Right. So with that, on top of it being split up, because that's what will cause you to bounce. Well, we don't write checks anymore. But they be bouncing accounts. Overdrafting. You'll be overdrafting because you really have budgeted. You've looked at the month, but not really what you're going to get in those 2 weeks. Exactly. Okay, bi-monthly. Exactly. And not everyone is salaried, so that's absolutely fine. So you take a guesstimate. Now, when I talk about guesstimating, I want you to under yourself every single time. You never want to go over. Where like we say, oh, I worked a little overtime, so it should be this. Because guess what happens? Miss Susan in the payroll office, she forgot to insert right. Your hours didn't get on this paycheck. Y'all know what she's talking about when your hours don't make it to this paycheck, and you planned for that. You've already paid that bill, and you're gonna meet it. You're thinking that your check is gonna hit. Okay, so always plan under. So you want to go with your realistic, never count any overtime, bonuses, or anything like that. That's always an extra money that you can spend later on. So you just want to focus on what you actually have coming in. And break that up by, if you get paid every Friday, great. Make sure you do a plan every single Friday. For your paycheck. Give every dollar a name. Got that from Dave Ramsey. And give every dollar a name. I'm repeating this because I want our chit chatters to really take this in. This is the beginning of a new year, new page, next chapter, and we can write a new page in our journey. With just for financial stability. There it is. Prosperity. That's the word. And freedom. That is the stability and the freedom, right? Wow. And so a lot of times. Wait. Oh, okay, go ahead. You're so full of information. So tell our chit chatters, what's financial freedom? So financial freedom is what it means to you, right? So because it looks different for everyone. For me, financial freedom meant me being able to, anytime I need to go do something, I have expendable money. I can go do whatever I want to do. If I need to go travel home, if I need to go, someone says, hey, let's go here, I can go do that. That's the freedom for me, being able to know if I pay all my bills, I may only have a few coins over here in my actual checking, but in my savings, I'm good. I can do what I need to do freely, because the world runs on money. Right. Ultimately, as much as we don't want to put emphasis on it, I mean, there's a lot of things we wouldn't be able to do if we didn't have money. And so just looking back before your crisis of brokenness, did you pursue financial freedom, or you didn't even know to do that? Okay. I was told, don't get no credit card. Don't get no checking the cash loan. Okay. And pay your bills. Okay. That's it. The basics. The basics. Okay. Or do we say, I would like to say the bare minimum. The bare minimum. That's the bare minimum for financial stability, because if you're just doing that, you're just going to be getting by. You're just going to be paycheck to paycheck. Okay. Because you're not doing anything to invest in yourself. Okay. And so I just want to walk us through. So we're going to write everything down, get our 4 walls established, know our exact income, week to week, bi-monthly or monthly, whatever, however it comes in. And then under
estimate.
Yep.
So don't go in saying, oh, I know I work 10 extra hours overtime. I know what my check is going to be, because something can happen in payroll.
Exactly.
Okay.
Anything can happen.
Yeah.
So you don't want to be that person that's overextending yourself.
Yeah.
And again, you've paid that bill. You can't get that money back.
Absolutely.
They're not going to give it back to you.
Right. Absolutely.
So I'm a very strong, strong believer of that.
I think that's a good word. Underestimate this year. Let's underestimate.
Yep.
Versus setting the bar so high.
Yeah. And then we think we have all these expectations that we can't really meet, right? So it always feels good. And we'll talk about like the snowball method and why the snowball method works versus the avalanche method. Money is emotional. You have emotional ties to your money.
Yeah.
So when you go to the store and let's say Bishop said, this month we're not going to spend nothing. And you went to the store and you was like,
yeah,
I really want this. But I know I got to do this, but you still got it anyway because emotionally you were attached to it. But when you swipe that card, you were like, I know I'm wrong. Okay. All of those emotions that come to you attached to your money. So every single day, it's a money emotion. You decide if your emotions are going to be high or be low.
Okay.
And what you want to achieve for
like eating. Then we can be emotional eaters.
We are emotional spenders.
We're emotional spenders. And I definitely have been. Since COVID, I have been an emotional spender and eater, really.
A little bit of both.
Yeah, a little bit of both. But I had to acknowledge that.
Yes.
Because I didn't think that I was doing that until I recognized that I was buying things without purpose. Just because I saw it.
So this is
it's kind of giving me a high.
It's an Amazon. Does Amazon get you like that? Because
absolutely.
It gets me every day.
Absolutely.
If I see it on TV or like you could be walking past and I'm like, ooh,
yeah,
let me do that. And I it's so quick and easy because it's in our fingertips. Right.
I was scrolling through Facebook and something pops up on something, because what they do, of course, with algorithms and all that, they know what you look at.
Yep.
And so whether it's Macy's or whatever, and you're like, oh my God, Macy's having a sale, or look at that dress. And then I'm out. I am no longer looking at reading anybody's post. I am on the Macy's website. And I agree with you. It has been so emotional for me.
So if we ask the chit chatters, I would tell them to take a moment right now to think about their emotional attachment to their money.
Okay.
And really sit down, journal it later on. Okay. What is my emotional attachment to money? What was I taught growing up? How do I feel about it now? What does it make me feel like when I do this or when I don't have money to do this?
Yeah.
Assess those emotions, and then that'll help you plan for the rest of your time.
And for me, it was those last two questions. What does it make me feel like when I press submit? I got a high off of it. Really, I did. I felt satisfied. I felt like, okay, because I think during COVID, our lives became a little limited.
Yes.
And we had more time. So all of a sudden I was on, looking at my phone or my iPad a lot, and you get bored with one thing. So you're like, okay, well, let me see what Dillard's is doing. Let me see what Macy's is. And then they have something cute on it. You're like, girl, where'd you get that? And they say, oh, this site I was on. Then I got to go look at that site. Yep. Yeah. Okay. And then I love what you just said. And then check out how you feel when you can't do it. Do you get depressed?
Yes.
Yeah.
You have to acknowledge the good and the bad.
I'm a therapist, so I love the psychology of this. Come on.
It's because you know what? I realized, like I told you, it's so much deeper than just here's $1.
Yeah.
There's so much more to that one piece of dollar, right? Like it's so much attached to it. And so when we actually start to think about the mental that's with that, it makes you do better. It makes you want to do better, because now I want to feel this submit button feeling every day without worry, because I would do it.
Okay.
But I would be like, who am I going to pay next time?
So, wait a minute. That's another aha moment, because what you're saying is it's all right to hit the submit button if you can afford it.
If you can afford it. If you can afford it.
Okay.
Now, if you can't, you shouldn't do it. If you can't buy that thing, and I really, really stress this, if you can't buy it without putting it on a credit card, you don't need it.
Okay.
And
okay, wait a minute. Now, take me slow. Take me slow.
Walk it back.
Okay, come on.
Okay. So if you are out and about and you see something you really, really want, and you know you can't right now take your debit card, because a lot of us don't carry cash anymore, right?
Right.
So you can't take your debit card and swipe it without either having to go overdraft and move money over.
Oh, okay.
That's a rule of thumb too. Moving money over is just as bad.
Okay, so for those of you who are in a better place where you're not living paycheck to paycheck, and because I keep saying everybody's not broke. Okay, so everybody's not broke, but you're helping those of us who are not broke say, but if I have to move some money over.
Yes.
Okay.
Because we have bad money habits. These are bad habits that we've gotten into. We've gotten into sending, I intentionally send money every paycheck to this bank account as my savings.
Gotcha.
And I have this money as my checkings.
Okay.
Now I'm dipping in my savings to move it over here. So it's no longer doing me any good.
Absolutely.
If that's all I'm going to do is keep dipping.
Overspending.
I'm
overspending. Okay, you all get that? For those who are living paycheck to paycheck, from what I get from this is if you can't pay for it with your debit card, not your credit card, then it's an expense that you don't need. You are overspending.
Yep.
For those who can do that, but you know that you're going to go later and move some money over from savings to your checking, you're overspending too. Okay. I'm helped today.
We're so glad.
Listen, Michelle, I am enjoying this. We're going to take a commercial break, and we are coming back to start a new page and a next chapter in our finances. Welcome back to Conversations with Linda. I am having a wonderful, eye-opening conversation with Elaine Michelle. Let me tell you, she is spitting out some truths, some information, revelation. We are starting a new page, a next chapter in our finances. Michelle, listen, and I know I'm going to Michelle, but it's Elaine Michelle, and I know her information is going to be there for you to follow her on YouTube. But Elaine Michelle, when we left off before our conversation, we were talking about financial freedom and overspending. So what do you want to tell us?
So we can really take charge of our finances by really assessing where we are, right? We talked about assessing where we are, acknowledging that we're there. Okay. So like, it's one thing to say I'm here, but then to really say I am here.
Yeah.
And I need to do something about it.
Yeah.
So from there, then we put together our plan. So what I did was I got into my planners and I tried a bunch of them. I really did. I went all the way around. Like, I mean, I was buying planners, getting planners sent left and right. And
now, is that your personality though? Because when I hear you talk about your, I'm a journal fanatic. So are you kind of like a planner fanatic?
I literally go shop for school supplies when it's not back to school time.
Wow.
Yeah, I was that girl. Like, I love it. So a good notebook, anything that's going to make me feel like I'm writing something important.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm her. So I wanted to find that planner that made me feel like I was doing something, because it makes you stick to it, right?
Yeah.
When you start writing things down on paper and you actually get serious about it, that thing is going to start pulling itself off of the paper. So at least it does for me. Now, I may have imagination.
I agree that when there's one level of speaking something. When you write it, it's almost like signing a contract with yourself. So you all write it down. Don't be lazy. Don't say, oh, that doesn't matter. You got to do more than talk the talk. All right. You got to write it down.
Yep. You got to write it down. You got to create yourself. Even if you don't get like, I have my budget planner here. So if you don't get the budget planner, you can still take a piece of paper, right? And get you some columns and write down all your expenses and all your bills are due. Don't forget your due dates.
Right.
Definitely need to do your due dates.
Okay.
And then take that from there and break it down by your paycheck to paycheck. And so that's kind of like what I did with the budget planner that I created, because I knew that if I was struggling as a single mom, somebody else probably was too. And what can we do to get there? Well, this is what worked for me, so maybe it'll work for somebody else. And so far it's been pretty good.
So you're writing it down. What about people who say, I want to do it in my phone? Is that okay?
Yeah, you can, but it needs to be intentional.
Intentional.
So I take about an hour now, because I've been doing it for so long. I take about an hour and I sit down and do my budget every week. And then every paycheck, I do that. I sit down and do it. Now, for my new age millennials, I have a digital version. I love to plan on my iPad. I do my budgeting there, and it transfers from my iPad to my phone, to my computer. Anywhere I'm at, I can pull up my budget and look and see, have I done this? I also use a tool called Cube Money, which is cash envelopes that are digital. Because I know one of the things that people talked about before was having cash on them all the time. And I think old school ways was cash is key, right? That was one of the things, like having cash is key. And it really is. But carrying around that kind of cash now is a little bit, risky.
It's risky.
So I use a digital cash envelope system. So all of those things intertwined together really creates the system that I use for success.
And so I just got to see this. It just feels good to have a plan or something with a spiral. Just gets me going. And so what areas did I do well in? What areas did I struggle with? How can I spend less? I mean, you are into the psychology of this.
So I actually took courses. So I'm actually a certified personal finance coach. And
really?
Yes. And it was brought to me by a mental health expert and psychologist. So what they did was create this piece of it that was literally about the mind and how does that work. So we took it not just about being finances, it's all about your whole entire life.
Absolutely.
That whole course opened me up to so much more that I didn't even realize was connected to my money.
Absolutely.
So yeah.
Because it's not only emotional, it really is mental. It is about your paradigms, how you were raised, as you said.
Exactly.
I was raised with money doesn't grow on trees. All right. So I had to overcome what I call the scarcity mentality, a poverty mentality. But in overcoming it, then I went to the other extreme. So, finding the balance, because I remember years where I did for everybody else. When I say everybody else, my children and all that, but I wouldn't do anything for myself.
Yeah.
I mean, my husband would buy me things that I would take back.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh, you a good one.
I struggled. I wasn't that girl that had the designer bag and all that, because I couldn't. I couldn't. I grew up in a home where there were a single mother with 5 children who said, we got to make it.
Oh, wow.
And so I'm going to make sure that you are clothed and fed. You got a warm home to live in, but you may not get all of that other stuff. So I grew up with making it and knowing that I couldn't be just all over the place with money, because money was about survival.
Oh, wow.
It was not about pleasure.
Wow.
Isn't that something?
That is.
And so that's the way I looked at money. I came into my marriage that way. And he came from a totally different background. And so we struggled at first. Hey, girl, I'm helping you.
You are, because I know I'm a struggle.
Because your journey will be different than your significant other or who you marry. And we struggle, but I didn't know. I thought the struggle was all about him until I realized all this stuff that you're talking about. I had to go deep and say, okay, what are my issues with money? And then he did the same thing, and we found a rhythm
to making it work. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I'm praying for that over my life whenever.
But at least you're doing the work.
Absolutely.
To be ready.
Right.
Now we pray that he'll be ready.
Right.
Okay. But if not, you're gonna help.
I'll be there.
You're gonna give him a journal. You're gonna give him a budget planner. Okay.
So one thing my parents, like I talked about, with them teaching me, all I saw was them paying the bills, and we had stuff, right? I was the kid who had a car. Like, as soon as she turned 16, I had my own car. When that one broke down, my dad went and bought me another one. I'm the baby of my family, so I was a little bit spoiled, as people would say. I call it blessed, but in the land, people call it spoiled. But I worked. I've been working since I was 15. So a lot of the money and stuff that I had on my own, but I did not get taught how to save. I wasn't taught to take my paycheck and take 20% and put it this place or do this. I pay my tithes.
Yeah.
Praise my tithes now. We had that down pat. Okay, so you're going to pay some tithes.
Y'all make sure y'all teach your children to tithe.
Pay your tithes. I was working as a shift manager at Arby's. I would go to work at Arby's in the morning at 5:00 in the morning. I would leave from there, go run Sunday school. Okay, because I was a Sunday school superintendent. I would go teach my class, superintendent. I would come back to work to finish the rest of my shift afterwards. So that's what I'm saying. Like I've always had to go ahead and go do it, but I didn't have the principles to saving that money. I would have had so much more.
But I think that even though you weren't taught to save, the tithing principle sets up that discipline that 100% of this is not for me to spend. So you had the foundation of there is a portion that I don't spend. So then you just had to take it over to saving.
Exactly.
Of it. Because what we think is when I get my check, I spend it all.
Yeah. Because I wanted to be with everybody else. I wanted to be cute. I wanted to have all the things. My parents were older, right? So by the time I was in high school, my parents had already reached, they were like 50, maybe like 55.
Gotcha.
Right? So like I had older parents versus the younger ones. So their parents were buying them I'm dating myself, but like FUBU and they had baby fat and stuff like that. And my mom, she would go to Macy's and get her. Like she would go get my baby fat from Macy's and everybody else was getting it from the corner, somewhere more popular. And so everything was different. So if I wanted something outside of what my parents got me, I had to have my own money. And a lot of times what I've noticed, because my parents are now 70 plus years old, and I introduced them to this.
Wow.
Yeah. Like amazing. I brought this to them. They're retired. And right before they retired, my mom was thanking her, the school that she worked for, because they had been putting aside money she didn't even know. But nobody told them. That wasn't a thing. It was what you said, survival. Survival was the tactic when they were coming up. When they finally had me, it was just me at the house. My dad was an area supervisor. Things that like really they were in their stability mode. And so, I mean, we would just spend. And it wasn't until I think my dad got laid off, and I still didn't understand. Now my dad got laid off and I got a car. Okay. So stuff wasn't like, hey, make it make sense. But when I got to college, I went on scholarships to Indiana University, and I was full ride girl. I had extra money left over. I was going to be good. No student loans. They came back. They took away every single one of my grants that I got.
Wow.
Because of my dad. The way that he filed. And this is important for those who are like going into things to think about this. When you are doing your taxes, you still have to report the money that you got from any time you've gotten laid off or gotten extra payments.
Y'all hear that?
Anything. You still have to pay on money and report it. Okay. So what my dad did with my FAFSA, I said, hey, Dad, how much did you make last year? Oh, I made about $2 because I done got laid off. They counted anything they had gave him for his severance, anything he had taken out from his account. That a lot of times, unless you have an accountant, and hey,
we don't know
till we know. And so they came back and they took all that money, and I ended up having to get student loans.
Okay.
So I really, really stressed that of making sure, because that was a mistake my dad made that I paid for.
That you paid for. So I got to ask you this. You budgeted your way into buying a new car. Oh, we're talking about after your brokenness and you're being broke. Can you help our chit chatters with that? How do you budget to get a new car or whatever it is, whatever the goal is, when you are coming from a broken place?
Absolutely. I put my focus in on all the things that make me some money.
Okay.
Essentially that's literally what I did for the past 3 or 4 years. Because of my YouTube following, I was able to start a business. From that business led to another business. From there, I also got sponsorships on YouTube, and so I was stacking that money. Girl. So before I knew it, so actually last year, not only did I get my car, and I'm going to say this, and it may sound like bragging, but this is all God. So I want to make sure I put that first. In 2020, I was laid off of my job. I was making really, really good money, cush job. I mean, literally loved it, was planning on retiring there. I got laid off right during the pandemic when they told us we were safe. They went through and laid off middle management. They gave me a severance check that would lead me for three and a half months.
Okay.
I was going to be fine without having to work.
Okay.
So I took that time and invested in myself. I invested in my business. I invested in myself some more, and made sure I was straight. So I started raising up my credit score. But I say that because I thought, there's no way I'm going to get to these goals now because I've lost my income.
Okay.
God gave me another job, paying me way more. They gave me a bonus check. Right when I was running, literally, I was at the last of having to dip into my savings, and they called me back for the job that I have now. And I was like, that ain't nothing but God. Then they gave me a sign-on bonus to come over. I'm like, so they paying me to come? Wow. So I started taking all of those things that I had been learning. Now I had this extra money, these extra flows of income. And I'm like, okay, what are your goals? What do you want to do? I wanted a house. I wanted to have a car. I wanted a car that I had a nice car. Let me make sure I said that. I had a nice car already. But I wanted these things to happen for me, right? So I started looking at where I was. Before I knew it, like I said, I had over $20,000 saved up just by literally pushing it over there. Anything I made from my YouTube channel, anything I brought in from speaking engagements, anything I did, I literally just sat it over to the side.
Okay, y'all listen to this now. So along with spending, you're saying also we've got to get another money flow.
Oh yeah,
another stream of income. You want to along with saving. I'm sorry, I said spending. You want to save, but you also want to get multiple streams of income.
Absolutely. Tell them again. Those multiple streams of income is important.
You know what I don't think people realize. I think my calling is or my purpose in the earth. Even if I'm not pastoring, my purpose is to inspire and motivate people to reach their highest potential and purpose in God. And one of the things that I find that we function at a deficit with is digging deep.
Absolutely.
And maximizing our potential.
Yes.
Because you're talking about a YouTube channel.
Yeah.
You know, these planners. And so you dug in deep and said, okay, what else is living inside of me?
Exactly.
And created a stream of income.
Yep. Multiple streams of income have come from that. So I'm at 7 now. And if you
wait a minute, you're at what now?
7 streams of income.
Did y'all hear that? 7 streams of income. Y'all hear that?
So it really,
how do you keep all it? Because okay, wait a minute. We're gonna take a commercial because when we come back, I want to ask Elaine Michelle, how does she juggle all of that? Because now we're talking not just saving and spending, how that works, but now planning, organizing, which is something else that she coaches and consults about. All right, we'll take a commercial and we'll be right back.
Hey Chit Chatters, it's a new season of Conversations with Linda. So you know what that means. We need new advice questions, whether it's about home decor, relationships, wedding dress options, your career, mental health, or whatever you can think of. Linda is here to help. All questions are 100% anonymous, so ask your deepest, darkest questions today. Listen, just visit lindawillisempowers.org to submit your questions.
Welcome back from commercial. I am having a wonderful conversation with Elaine Michelle. She is a financial planning guru. We're just going to go and call you that. All right. You are just giving so much information on this such a significant part of our lives, our finances. But before we went to commercial break, you said you have developed 7 streams of income. Hear that with your good ear. 7 streams of income. And you're how old?
I'm 34.
Come on, tell us how you did it.
So literally, I just took one thing, and like you said, all that stuff that was festering up inside of me, every idea that came up, I was like, I'm doing this. I'm going to try it.
Wow.
Throw it at the wall, see if it sticks. And it started working for me.
So, normally we are afraid, and my thing is always feel the fear and do it anyway. Because you're going to feel some sense of overwhelm, right? Maybe some intimidation.
Absolutely.
But you just did it.
Yeah. I would say I probably was going through a little something at the time where I needed to be focused on something other than all the things I had going on. So it was really good for me to just.
Girl, was it a relationship?
It was.
Okay.
Yeah.
See, because I think that is the answer to breakups and all of that.
Oh, yeah.
Instead of being at home crying and falling apart and, doing something crazy, do something productive, like start a business.
Start a business.
If you want to get her back or him back, show them you can live without them. Okay. I'm sorry. I digress.
I'm here for all of that because that's literally the mindset you have to have. I'm not going to sit here. If I'm going to sit here and wallow, I might as well make money off of it.
Yes,
right.
I love it.
So that's my theme or process. I'm
turn your tears into money.
Turn your tears into coins. I love it. I gotta let me write that book down. Make sure somebody write that down. Turn your tears into coins because that's literally how you're going to move forward.
Okay.
And especially like my women that are like my age or younger, or even there's a lot of women that I mentor that are older than me, and they take the little nuggets that I drop off, and they're like, "Wow, I've been this way for this long, and all I needed to do was just this one little shift."
Wow.
Like instead of spending all night crying, I'm gonna cry a little bit, but then I'm gonna take those tears and then I'm gonna write down in a journal and see what it is that I got out of this and how can I monetize it.
Monetize your tears. Girl, we on to something. Monetize your tears. Turn your tears into cash. That's going to be my saying. Turn your tears into cash.
And it will happen. Think about how many people, there's a Tayana Jackson. She literally creates journals off of heartbreak. That's all she does.
Wow.
That's it. And she'll put a couple scriptures in there, lines on a piece of paper, throw it in a book, and now she's a millionaire.
Okay.
So I'm just saying, successful people have, they say they have, and I don't want to, whatever, but you'll find a lot of successful people and wealthy versus rich. I'm always about wealthy, what wealth means to you, versus saying, oh, they're rich. No, because there's a lot of rich people who are unhappy. I want to be wealthy.
Yeah.
I want to be wealthy and healthy at the same time.
Absolutely.
So what I found was
healthy, wealthy, and wise. Those are my three.
Yes. So if you have those 7 streams of income, you're right in line with everybody else.
Okay.
So you may not be making $1 million, but I'm comfortable. You know what I'm saying? I'm not setting the limit to being right here because I know he's gonna blow my mind. But I'm also like,
but how many people are not comfortable?
Man.
So so tell me, with 7 streams of income, how do you juggle all of those balls?
Whew, it's a lot.
Okay.
It's a lot.
So this now comes in the planning part of you.
This is the planning side.
Okay.
And I would say this is what really catapulted me into everything because planning led into budget planning, right?
Okay.
And so it's all a piece of your life. And however you do it, whether you're writing it down on a piece of paper, again, I am a stationary girl.
Gotcha.
Like I love it. So seeing my little raggedy handwriting on something did something for me.
I promise y'all I'm gonna have this. I'm taking this home with me. Okay, come on.
So what I did was I started off with my regular plans. Okay. So I did the regular plans. I went into sticker planning. Okay. I like stickers.
Okay.
It's a whole thing. It mentally escapes you. You're sitting there worried about placing stickers down as an adult. But
to do what, man?
So you play with the stickers. So like I have a sticker that like it's a whole spread of like pictures of Black girls and them in a scene, and then I got little boxes, and this box represents this, and you stick this one here. It's a whole thing.
Okay, yeah, I'm loving this.
It's almost $1 billion industry at this point.
Really?
The planner community,
$1 billion industry.
I'm gonna say it's billion. Okay, so it's about $1 million, but it's over $1 million. But there are a lot of companies now that are focusing on planners and planner stickers and how this all works and ties into people's lives.
Wow.
So I started off doing that.
Okay. And that helps you, but that helps you also juggle your own, plan your own life.
Right.
Okay.
So from there, I was like, okay, I'm doing a lot of stickering and not a lot of doing.
Okay.
So I wasn't planning effectively.
Okay.
So it was cute on paper. I knew all the things I need to do and it was real cute, but I wasn't executing.
Okay.
So I took a step back and then I started doing more so time blocking. And you can time block with your daily schedule where take a week and look at what you're doing all throughout that week.
Okay.
So I knew from 8 to 5, most days that's my work hours. So I color coded that as one thing. And then in the morning times, I held like coaching sessions before my baby would get up in the morning. So between the hours of 6 and 7 was my coaching hours.
Okay, so now I'm really hearing some things. I hope you all are getting this, because this is really great. And I love the fact that you're 34 and you are a boss lady, in the sense of you're looking at the 24 hours God has given you and saying, how can I maximize those? So let me walk slowly through this, because what I'm hearing you say is, though you're living comfortably, you got 7 streams of income, you didn't quit your day job. Because what I find is most people, when they get a little hustle or they get another they want to quit the main job.
Absolutely.
And you didn't do that. You found time before going to your regular job to make some money. Okay, keep talking. I'm just loving it.
And I think that's one of the things we have to look at for ourselves. Everybody want, like, I would love to not have to go clock in, right? Not clock in, but like go show up to somebody's job. But at the same time, that's insurance. Right. So now I'm so far along in my career that
you're a wise girl.
I'm doing stuff. I'm working, but I'm not working as hard. Right.
Yes.
So I would rather let me use them, get this insurance, this 401k, pour into myself.
Right.
And once I'm there for so long, and then I get all of these extra benefits and stuff, use their money to listen. I first will tell you, while you're working, use what they are giving you to build what you need to get. Because they're using you to build their business.
Absolutely.
So you do the same thing.
Absolutely.
Reciprocate that energy.
Oh, I'm telling you, this is the new page for your life or your finances. And certainly many of us are writing a next chapter. And so you took that hour, you worked with that hour. Go to your regular job.
So then I go to my regular job. I would come home, like if I had church, I would do my church thing. I would set appointments.
And you still make time for the Lord.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
now I was born and raised in the church. Now I ain't
the pastor in me said that's why you're a prosperous girl, even as you had your ups and downs, because you're a tither.
Yeah.
I believe tithes are seeds that go into our future. And they are there providentially. Okay, come on. I know y'all don't want me to.
You gave me that though. Like when I came, I hadn't quite joined yet, and when you did a sermon on tithing, that's when you had the people come down, the whole little demonstration. Listen, that spoke to my whole soul, because they explain tithing to you in one way, right? When you're growing up, that you got to tithe. Well, God's gonna get you if you don't give him his money. But the way that you turn that thing around is like, this is my covering. I was like, I bet not miss this. Let me get this money from somewhere.
Girl, it goes into your future. I'm telling you,
and
providentially in places. Yes. Okay, come on.
It's security. I'm sorry. Okay. So I literally just time blocked everything, and I gave everything a time. So when I talk about giving every dollar a name, I gave all of my time a name too. Now I might have missed some sleep. I'm the first one to tell you, I'll miss some sleep. I might miss a text message. I might miss something.
All of which you can get later. You can sleep later. You got the rest of your life to sleep.
You can.
I'm telling you.
And when I think about it, so my person that I love is Beyonce. If anybody know, I love Beyonce. Okay. And one of the things I was watching in her documentary, they were talking about how does she do it, and it's because she puts her work in, right? She doesn't look at herself as Beyonce. This is her craft. This is what she loves to do, and she's gonna perfect it. There's 24 hours in a day. You make it happen.
Absolutely.
Then on top of that, I had an ex-boyfriend. He told me, I said, how did you have time to cheat? I couldn't understand it for the life of me. Okay, because I'm like, we here, and here. He said, there are 24 hours in a day. When I tell you I use that for everything now, he didn't know what he was putting into me. He thought he was just telling me some stuff. It's been over 10 years, and I keep that in my forefront, that there's 24 hours in a day. What are you doing with yours?
So he wasn't a waste because he taught you something.
No, it was he wasn't complete waste. Here we go.
Right. He wasn't a complete waste. He taught you something.
Yes.
Okay.
But that's what I do. Like, so I keep that in mind as I'm planning. And then as you get more secure, then you make more time for yourself. Always make time for yourself, for sure, anywhere. But treat yourself. Yeah. So I find myself, rewarding myself. I have a budget for, like, I can go get a massage or something like that. And maybe I don't spend it this month. That's fine. Or maybe I do. But whatever you do for yourself. So make sure, because when you pay yourself, pay God first, pay yourself, right? And then you make sure you pay your bills. If you have something left over, put it to the side for a goal. Set a goal that you want to do with that money.
Put it aside for a goal. And so this planning, you're looking at this 24 hours.
All the day.
and seeing how you can maximize it before work. Maybe yours is after work, but looking at that one little hour that you can monetize that hour.
Imagine what in 1 hour you can do. What can you complete in 1 hour? And if you literally put your focus into it, what could you do in an hour for your future?
Now, I got to ask you this, because at 34 years old, 7 streams of income, YouTube followers, all of that. Oftentimes people like yourself who start businesses, what they say is, well, people don't support me. How did you overcome that bitter taste of, because everybody's not, but there are 44,000 people that are supporting you. So how do you overcome that thing of wanting, all your little close friends or your family who may not because they're against you, but they're just not passionate about what you're passionate about?
And that's the piece of it that people have to understand. Whenever you're doing something, I'm not doing it for my best friend. She's good.
Gotcha.
Right. Like ultimately she already got me on her squad.
Yeah.
She's good. So I'm doing this for somebody else. And that's what I learned along the way, that my purpose is not just for me. It's for that next person who needs me to do what I got to do in order to move forward. 9 times out of 10, it's not going to be the people that are like genuinely, there may be some, but they're not going to be as close to you as you think. And so when I took that out of there and I started focusing on everything else, I mean, I can count on my hand. I love my family, but I can count on my hand prior to some conversations I had. Like, y'all could just share my stuff. Like, just share it. It's for free. It's free to share. But then what I also realized is I don't want you sharing it if you're not passionate about it helping me, right? So it's not just about whatever it is I'm pushing. It's I want to see my cousin do better. I want to see my sister do better. I want to see them do better. So don't do it just to like hit the share button. Don't do that.
Yeah.
I want you to do more. And you don't always have to have your support be someone supporting you directly, right? I can count how many of my family have bought my budget planner, right? I can tell you how many have, but I can also tell you how many have taken time to have a conversation with me, to boost me up, to make me feel like I'm doing the right thing and supporting me in that way. So you have to look for your support in a different way.
That is so revelatory, because you see now support coming from different people in different ways, because you got family members that they're just not going to go on YouTube. But like you said, that conversation, telling you to keep going. I love it. So this whole planning piece, as we're wrapping this up, is key to building this life with multiple streams of income and just getting your act together. There needs to be some structure to your life.
And that piece of planning leads into everything.
Okay.
You start with your plan. And from there, you just let it go where it needs to go.
Okay.
And be ready to pivot.
Be ready to pivot,
because on that piece of paper, you can write down everything you're gonna do for the day, and it may not always happen like that.
Yeah.
And I'm a perfect person to say every day I have this plan and I think it's gonna go this way, and it always doesn't. But what happens is, because I pray that there's a tomorrow. Here's a tomorrow for me. Absolutely. Then I'll do it tomorrow. Awesome. I manage what I can manage, move it to tomorrow what I can.
That's a good note to end on. Manage what you can manage, what you can't, move it to tomorrow. I love it. It's been a joy sharing with you. I feel the energy of the new year. It's exciting, and I'm gonna get my stuff together as well and get off these all this online shopping that I've been doing. Well, I don't know. I just I'll balance it out. I'll balance it out. How about that? But tell our audience, our chit chatters, how they can reach you, because now we kind of dove into some budgeting, but I'm sure we kind of left people hanging with some, they had some questions.
Okay. So if you guys are looking for me, I am Elaine Michelle official on Instagram. I am Elaine Michelle on YouTube, and everywhere else, Elaine Michelle, you can look me up. I'm there. TikTok, Snapchat. I'm on all the things the kids are on these days.
Okay. and you do these plan with me so people can.
Now I do plan with me's. I haven't been doing them very often, just because I'm probably a boring planner now, right? Like, so I went from decorative planning to now I'm like a minimal planner on my iPad, and like it's real me and my writing. We keep it going.
Okay.
So I found my piece, and planner piece is a thing that you'll want to seek. You'll want to find planner piece, where you get to the point where this planner is working for you, and you don't need to go find another one at a store. You just need this one right here.
Wow. Yeah. I love it.
So you want to find your life planner, quote unquote life planner, that works for you, where you can budget and you have your one for your daily tasks, like what works for you in there. So
okay. So will you plan to come back to Conversations with Linda?
Yes.
Because what I want to do is, a follow-up, a catch-up, and see where everybody is. Maybe we'll do it, take 3 months and say, okay, now where are you? And we'll do something. I just kind of, my balls are spinning in my head of getting people ready for when you're going to come back to assess where they are.
Absolutely. So I'll have some worksheets that we'll put up for them to get started with just showing their monthly budget. It'll give them one to do and look at it like that. I also offer my services. You get one free consultation. So we'll go over your budget with you. And within an hour session, you can book that as well. And I'm not sharing any of your information or anything like that. I know that's one of the big stigmas in our community, is that I don't want to tell them how much I'm making. I could care less. I want to make sure you're managing what you're making, whether it's big, small, or little. I want to help however I can. So what we take a minute and we go through all of the expenses, all your bills. If it's you and your husband, we both sit down, we create a plan, and then you guys execute. And if you need like an accountability partner, that type of thing, then there are other services that you can get into. But I highly, highly recommend taking time with someone and sitting down and doing that budget and really getting your mind wrapped around it.
Okay. All right. Well, we are out of time as always, but never out of conversations. Y'all tune in each Sunday evening at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. And like, share, subscribe, do all of that stuff. Conversations with Linda and Elaine Michelle. All right. God bless you.